Out of time. You need to
Hold
get
that thought,
off
Turf. Hey there, and how y'all doing? Welcome to episode 18 of Our Parents' Basement, a podcast where we will not be censored by the man. Now, last week, I was not here as my fellow castmates discussed Pokemon Go and the new mini NES model. It was a great show, despite my absence, so be sure to check it out on our website, iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. But, as you can see, I'm back, and I'm ready for some good old video game fun. So, I'm Cashel, and I'm happy to be back and better than ever. And with me, we have the man, the myth, the marvelous Mr. Nikon. He's here.
Me? I guess I am here. I can't say much because everything I have to say now has been redacted. So I can't even confirm if I'm here or not.
Well, we'll I'll make it work. Oh my goodness. We also have the sweetest Southern gentleman you'll ever meet. Turp is in the house. Say hi.
He's coming at you tonight with the smooth tones. That's right, ladies.
Welcome. Glad to have you as well, and you sound great, by the way. It's a good look for you. And finally, we have the Jersey-licious Zach Z. He is also here.
Hey kids, it's time to use the F word.
Well, welcome everyone.
Oh, come on.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're all here, happy to be back, all that good stuff. And I'm really eager to get into this first topic, video game censorship. So this topic came to me thanks to a post on vgcollect.com, a website that lets you catalog all of your games and video game accessories while also allowing you to chat with fine individuals. vgcollect.com. Ding. Someone
And
on
the
there,
assholes come too.
as we all met too. Someone on there mentioned that he started playing for the first time Illusion of Gaia, a game I played many years ago. Now at the time I didn't realize it, but Illusion of Gaia, like many other games localized for Nintendo, was hit with some pretty heavy censorship. So, over time, and of course prior to Illusion of Gaia, many games that came to our side usually became something different from the intended finished product because of censorship. So tonight, I want to see what everyone thinks of this topic. Talk about games that we felt should not have been censored, maybe games that should have been. We'll talk about how we see it affecting future games, that sort of thing. So obviously, I just mentioned Illusion of Gaia, which was a game that inspired this idea. But I want to go around real quick and just see, is there a game that, off the top of your head, you played and only later to realize that it was kind of censored either in a minor way or really heavily? Let's see here. Mr. Nikon, how about you? Just off the top of your head, can you think of any?
Not off the top of my head.
Off the top of your head right now.
I think of any really games that I played personally.
I know you play a lot of imports, and those are, not so. Those usually aren't censored because Japan. So.
Yeah. Japan's like, yeah, let's put it in there. Lion
Exactly.
poop in the air on Catholics? Let's go with it.
You're not too far from the truth. Turf, how about you?
Well, there's a lot of games that I didn't know they were censored at the time. And most of my gameplay, when I'm thinking this, I'm thinking NES stuff. Like River City Ransom, they took out little stuff like the dude who was drying off after he got out of the spa or whatever, and you can see his butt crack. But they took that out obviously. But aren't we a little sensitive? Come on, it's just a little. Everybody's got a butt crack. I mean, if you've got a lower part of your torso, you've got a butt crack. So what's the big deal? Now, granted, we all may not have seen butt cracks because, well, it's hard. It's behind you. It's hard to see. So, anyways, that may have been why it offended people because they were scared of their own butt crackedness. Things, and then there's games like Devil World, which is a pretty fun game. It's a Famicom game, kind of a Pac-Man clone, but it's, I guess, just the whole thought of it maybe is it was too much for the Japanese thought, or too much for Americans to handle. They got a European release. got a PAL release, but it did not get a U.S. release, and I guess because maybe it had crosses in it. I don't know. Maybe they could have called it like I don't know, Bad Guy World, or anything but Devil World, like Steve
World.
Demon World. Yeah, we've got plenty of demon games. What's the big deal? Then see something. What was it? Dadgummit. One of them has a reference to Mr. or Aleister Crowley in it. Is it Deja Vu?
Ooh, I'm not sure.
It's an Uninvited. It's one of those computer games that are made that were over to the NES. Obviously computer games. I think. Anyways, it was the only. There was like 666 on something. It was the only reference that made it into the U.S. releases. There was, well, I say that, it was the only religious reference. So there was like a cross in Castlevania, and which I don't know why that was. That's heavily censored, especially Castlevania 3. They took all the crosses off of tombstones in the background.
They did?
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
Why spend the time? Why? I mean, yeah, I get it that people are like might get a little butthurt, like, hey, you cross, you can't do that. This is for everybody. But get over it. It's that's something that's just so silly. So I mean, I'm not offended. Like even like there's games now that are obviously kind of creepy and shit. Like they'll have like upside down crosses and stuff like that. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It's scary, but it doesn't. I mean, it adds to it. But I don't. That doesn't need to be censored, in my opinion. Maybe I'm not as sensitive as some people. That may be it. So.
Well, that's fine. Well, that's good. Zach, any games you can just think of, you just in your lifetime of gaming that you realize were censored?
I mean, I've been seeing a lot of the whole censorship stuff, especially with Nintendo games. One that's actually pretty odd is the game No More Heroes. In the US, we got it uncensored, which was all the blood and stuff. Out in Japan, they had it censored to where the enemies would just kind of explode into a black dust and just disappear.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that, when you see that, I mean, does that really bother you? Like if if we got the blood and gore and stuff, but if you hit the guy and he just disappears or it blows up, a lot of NES games, they had like little explosions. Does that bother you at all?
I mean, it doesn't. It just seems kind of odd how this game that that had a lot of Japanese inspiration, at least with the otaku-like character of Travis Touchdown, would get censored so heavily in Japan, but not in the U.S.
Yeah, usually it's the opposite. It seems like,
But I mean, there's a lot of other games. I mean, I think that Wolfenstein was censored on the Super Nintendo version.
Yes. They took all the swastikas out, didn't they?
Something like that.
Yeah, they replaced them with
Really?
eagles or something like that, or falcons. They took all the swastikas out of that game, which
I did not
is
know
weird
that.
because you're going into Germany and killing Nazis. Come on, can we not have the bad guys have a flag? Harden up, pussies.
Ridiculous.
I mean, also, like I'm trying to say, more modern ones. It's mainly like sexuality stuff, I think, because, I mean, like I said, Nintendo. For some reason, they gave everything the okay for Bayonetta 2. However, in Xenoblade Chronicles X, the 13-year-old has a little bit more clothing than the older women, which, you know what? People say that it's because the items are the same, that they should get the same thing, but here's the thing with that game. The males get a different costume for equipping the same item. So, really, that argument kind of falls apart there. And let's face it, we don't really sexualize 13-year-old girls around here.
Because that's just
I have
creepy.
another question about that game. Is it that one that in Japan had a feature that lets you customize the size of a woman's bust?
It did.
And we got rid of that in the United States version, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, to me, it's kind of an odd thing to take out, just because I remember playing the Tony Hawk games and being able to do that on the female characters in that.
Tony Hawk.
And when you're doing ollies and
This guy.
kick flips, I don't want
Tony Hawk,
you
Tony
wouldn't
Hawk,
want
Tony
these
Hawk,
to get in
Tony
the
Hawk,
way.
Tony Hawk.
I'm assuming. So that's really interesting.
But yeah, I mean, that one doesn't bother me at all. What they did was Fire Emblem Fates with the whole not wanting to have it seem like they make a girl go from lesbian to straight. I can understand that because the way that people were writing it was that, but it turns out the character just only liked them like pop idols, like how girls tend to like them. And she just had a hard time talking to guys. So she was straight, just didn't really know how to talk to guys.
So
they changed it from a magic powder to a blindfold so she can actually talk to the guys.
okay. This is a recent Fire Emblem too, wasn't it?
It's the newest one.
Yeah,
But
so that's an odd choice.
Well, no, I think that is a better choice because it just doesn't really lead to that whole thing of, all right, they changed this character who was supposed to be lesbian to not. When it really just shows that the character wasn't the whole time.
Okay, interesting.
And there is a character that you could have the relationship with in one of the versions. So you still got that character.
All right, cool.
And finally,
go ahead.
Yeah, and finally is the whole the Tokyo Mirage sessions, where they up the ages of the girls, which okay, but they can't show the part where they got her in a bikini, and they changed.
You can't see her in a bikini.
That's what I've heard. I've got to go back to playing that game. I know I'm close to that part actually, because it was for a whole photo shoot, and I'm in that area of the game right now.
Sometimes the censorship just makes things look just worse than intended. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, in reality, nobody probably would have thought anything of that until like bikini photo shoot. This girl's of age. Things like that happen.
I mean,
if you don't point it out, what's the big deal?
They literally upped her from 17 to 18, and that's where they and they still took out the bikini for some reason.
Son of a bitch.
I mean, I think any 18-year-old girl will be fine wearing a bikini, especially in a video game. I mean, that's the adult age, last time I checked.
And when I get my Tokyo massage, I definitely want it from an 18-year-old a bikini. Because I'm not creepy at all.
No, well, maybe a little bit. Well, that's debatable. I just see so many weird instances in which censorship
and like
had the reverse effect.
And like I said, these are the guys who apparently okayed Bayonetta.
Yeah, but she had like sexy secretary glasses, so it was okay.
The glasses, I love those glasses.
You and me both, son. You and me both.
Yeah. She is working those glasses.
Basically full frontal at one point in two.
Maybe, but she had long hair, so it was okay.
No, that's the one where she had short hair.
Oh, well, no, like the hair. That was like the weapon and the dress, wasn't it? Was hair, right? No.
Well, all that fighting.
You've never seen that.
Clothes gets in the way. Go naked. That's what I say.
That's kind of my motto. If clothes are getting in the way, if they're distracting, just go naked.
I mean, you see the stuff for that game, and you're like, okay, these guys okayed this, but not this. Okay. Don't quite get that, but
when we're talking about censorship, usually it's like the things in the Japanese game coming over here or into the United States are different. You go back to like the 80s and 90s. The Europeans were insane, apparently. And I say that because we have no downloads from Europe, so I can say stuff like that. Nobody will know. Anyways, the like things like Probotector was Contra, but they didn't want you shooting people or aliens, so they had changed all the enemies to robots.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know this. This is really interesting.
It was okay to shoot robots, but not people or aliens. Let's see, something like a perfect example. Ninjas were too violent for the Europeans. So if you get a PAL version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, you get a copy of Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. The cartoon, the comics, everything was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, the breakfast cereal. It didn't matter. It was all the hero, and that always struck me as weird that you couldn't have Ninja in any of that. Like Ninja Gaiden is Shadow Warrior. Over there.
Wow, it's
because
man.
the word.
Wow, that's different than the Shadow Warrior we got.
Yeah, I mean, that's what. Isn't that what it was? It was Shadow Warriors. That's the Game Boy game. Still is called that. Ninja Gaiden Shadow Warriors.
Interesting.
I thought it was Shadow Dragon.
Well, let's just take a minute and ask the Google machine. Because I very well could be wrong. I'm not above that. I often talk out of my ass, so you'll get that a lot.
Don't worry, it happens to the best of us.
I'm pretty sure though it was since the word ninja was a bad word, they changed it to something else. So it's the exact same Ninja Turtle cartoon, it's the exact same Hero Turtle game, but it's different. They changed the name because ninja was a dirty word.
I don't think ninja is a dirty word. I think censorship is a dirty word, and I'm get really tired of just seeing, what one game was supposed to be, and then someone somewhere throws like a hissy fit, and I guess this is how I understand some things happening. A game is going to be coming out from Japan. There's something that someone, either a publisher or maybe a fan, they see a screenshot or something, and it offends their delicate sensibilities. And I guess, what's the term? Social justice warrior? Is that the term I'm thinking of?
SJW.
Oh. Yeah, they go
warriors.
Yeah, they do. They go all that. They say they're going to boycott, blah blah blah, and boom, something gets censored. That chain of events that just seems to be happening, and it drives me crazy. And
it's not like they were going to buy the game in the first place, so why even bother with them?
Thank you. Exactly. That's the. See, I'm getting fired up just thinking about it right now. I'm getting pissed off.
Do it.
God, this is so fucking irritating. Okay, so example. I'm playing Star Ocean 5 right now, right? One of the characters was supposed to have, more form-fitting panties. I'll just say it, all right? Now, you really had to work the camera to actually see them. You really had to want to see this 3D cartoon character's undergarments. But if you did, you saw them. Someone somewhere said, that's not right. I'm gonna boycott this game. Who probably never even played a goddamn Star Ocean game in the first place, and they edited her outfit. Is it a big deal? Of course not. I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna be trying to look at her panties. I'm gonna be trying to save the universe. But little things like that. Do you get what I mean? Like, someone took the time to raise a stink about something so trivial, and as a result, the developers, in this case Tri-Ace, changed it. I mean, they changed they changed their product. It's foolish. I can't be the only one who thinks like this.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you another example of this, but this is probably a good version of censorship. In the United States, we got a game called Special Cybernetic Attack Team, which if you take the first letter of and it's blazing across the cart, it spells scat. But in Europe, I guess they saw that coming. It's called Action in New York, which could also mean scat, but I thought that was German porn.
Giggity.
So I mean, there's things like that
sometimes it's good.
Well, yeah, you use a word if we're something in one culture, one country or something, and you take it somewhere else and it means something completely different. So maybe they saw scat coming and decided not to release that there.
Don't release scat ever.
You got to keep that to yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to be like the Chinese writer of Brown Spots on the Wall.
That too.
Poo flung poo.
But oh my God. But yeah, it's just
that racist joke was brought to you by Zach Z.
Yeah. Never a dull moment, and I love it.
So censorship does happen for the good and the bad. Most of it, I think, is people that are Let's see, pussies.
Stupid?
They're just pussies.
That works too.
They're just people are too freaking sensitive, man. If you want to see a pixelated butt crack, okay. I mean, it's not going to hurt anybody if the developer wants to put that in a game.
And by that same token, if you don't want to see it, don't play it. Problem solved. Boom.
And I mean, and you kind of dance a line here between, like, if you say that, well, I want that pixelated butt crack in my game, you come off as kind of creepy by saying it.
Yeah.
Even though you don't really, you're just saying I don't want censorship. It's hard to come back and fight for butt crack because you come off as weird. So it's hard to be against censorship and not come off as creepy. Am I making sense?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a gray area as well.
And in this day and time, how hard is it to take that stuff out of a game? Can we not just have a 18 plus toggle that, if you want to see the parts that are sketchy, then go ahead and leave that on and turn it off if you don't. I mean, I feel like we're that far in technology that we could have the system or the game, the whatever, can censor it for you. Just do a little bit of development work. I personally think what parts of the game might be sketchy, so whatever work you would have to do to censor something, just make that an option. It's not like you'd have to have two versions of the game. Just cut it off.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Or change the ratings. Or
go F yourself.
Have a warning. Yeah. I like the last one. I like that last actually the best. Let's go fuck yourself. But God, that's the second time I said fuck. Now it's the third time. This whole show, I will not be censored, America. All right. But,
yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I get so annoyed by it because people get offended by, we'll go back to this example, the butt crack, but they have no qualms about seeing copious amounts of blood and gore. They don't care about the swearing. In some cases, they don't care if there's a cross or a religious symbol thrown in, but if there's nudity involved, quiver.
I think that has to do with social norms, and that's a whole different show, guys. In the United States, we're okay with violence. We grew up on it.
America.
Well, we've been blowing shit up for years. That's just how we get down. We love Die Hard. We love Lethal Weapon. We love all these 80s action movies. Give me a Schwarzenegger movie. Give me a Stallone movie. This is my cup of tea. Yeah, give me the highest body count until like Terminator 2 came out, right? Isn't that what it was?
Probably.
Anyways,
Kindergarten Cop.
It was Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop.
Mariah Carey's Glitter had the largest body count. People who killed themselves in the theater after they watched it.
Boom.
I've seen that movie. It was awful. So bad.
But you survived.
I survived. But you weren't there. You don't know what I went through. Continue on, please. I just can't.
We're used to that stuff. We were brought up on it. We were bottle fed blood and gore. But Mama didn't want us to see a titty, so we gotta we have to cover our eyes. So it's just kind of weird. But in the other countries, like if you go to Europe, for instance, they don't give a damn. They'll just topless beaches and stuff.
Yeah,
they do not care. And it's not like, hey, look at my body. It's just they're more comfortable with nudity.
Yep.
It's a social norm. It's not anything like they're flaunting anything. They just don't think anything of it. So
tasteful side boob, if you
You've
will.
got the page 3 girl in the UK.
Yeah, the page 3 girl.
Page 3 girl. I'm not sure what that is.
Google it.
Well, it's the naked girl.
It
On
is.
newspaper. It's like you got to say today. Then you open to page 3. Oh, here is our escort of the month.
And that's a titty.
Oh, all right.
But I think we're just we grew up more used to, grandma would drop an F-bomb every now and then, so it must have been okay. And it wasn't a big deal to see John Wayne shoot the bad guy.
Right.
So
It wasn't a big deal to see Han shoot first.
that's right, and he did. He did shoot first because he was gangster.
Pew pew.
So, talking about nudity in games, You had games like Custer's Revenge.
Okay, that was just straight up rape.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
okay
a
with
lot of
rape.
those games put out by Mystique. Or,
Alright.
Yeah,
As-
but I mean, you're counting an unlicensed game there.
Well, none
Well,
of
there
the
was a
Atari games were licensed, were they?
I don't think Atari's like, okay, you guys want to make games for our system? Just make games for our system.
Well, that's kind of what
That's
Atari
pretty much
did.
it.
They just
Yeah.
they kind of just said, we got a system. Y'all make some games. We're not going to stop you. It was kind of like the like an IBM computer is how they were treating the Atari. They just said, hey, we've got a format. Y'all make games. It wasn't clamped down like Nintendo's cartridges. It's just if it'll fit the slot, let's make it work.
Yeah.
I like how everything you say tonight, Turf, sounds sexual. But again, you will not be censored in America, so keep it coming.
Because I'm a sexy son of a bitch tonight. That's right.
Another game that Mystique made was called Beat 'em and Eat 'em and Bachelor Party.
And Beat 'em and Eat 'em was about facials, correct?
Pretty much.
Wait, for real?
Well, you're like on a balcony. There's like naked woman running below you, and you're just doing your thing and shooting pixelated spunk down at them, and you gotta hit them with it.
Pixelated spunk. I love it.
Dropping loads.
Oh.
That just
This
happened,
is-
America.
And this was also for the Atari, you said?
Atari 2600. Yep.
Yeah, you need to check out Beat 'em and Eat 'em sometime. That's a
I need to check
dandy.
a lot of things after tonight's show. My goodness.
Don't Google scat. Don't.
I know what scat is. God, gross. Disgusting.
It's that German Scheiße porn.
Speaking of the Atari, I think it's time we make a little segue. Because
We already did that.
censorship.
Like how I did that there.
The Atari
But yeah,
2600. Let's talk about it.
Well, it's pretty much not the first home, video game system. You had your Pong clones and, your Magnite Fairchild, but Atari 2600 or the Atari Video Computer System or VCS, released in 1977. The brainchild of Nolan Bushnell, who brought us Pong and the first Pong arcade machines, but that could be a whole another thing. Which released in 1987 and they didn't discontinue it until 1992. So the thing was on for a hell of a long time. But yeah, got mine right here. This big bad beast right here.
Woo!
And it's 1970s wood grain glory. This is they're cheap to buy depending on which system you get. Some are more than others. Like there's the 4-switch model. Since it has 4 switches on the front, your power, your color black and white switch, your game select,
Gotta be
and your
black.
game reset. Because people still have black and white TVs back then.
Racist asshole.
But yeah.
Like you said, there's several different versions of it. There's the classic wood grain that everybody thinks of, and then there's the heavy sixer is what they call it. It's a 6-switch wood grain one, and then there's one called well, not all of them are made in Sunnydale. They I believe shipped production to Korea, Taiwan, maybe that's right, Taiwan. Anyways, but the original ones were they're Atari. They call them Sunnydales or the Sunnydale version. They were actually made in Sunnydale, California, and that's the very, very first run of Ataris. And if you could
those are not cheap at all.
No, they're not.
They're not cheap, you said?
No.
Oh.
Well,
I think they only made 200 or so.
Oh.
I mean, it was the absolute first run of Ataris, and I mean they're out there. People find them in garages occasionally. Because they are there. Because it's an Atari. Nobody cares about it. If you hook it up, it looks like ass now.
Yeah.
But there are some fun games on it. And,
Oh yeah.
See, but back to the point. Back to what we were saying about the different versions. There's the wood grain, the heavy sixer. There's one they call the Vader because it's all blacked out and murdered out.
Nice.
It's a 4-switch one. Then there's the the Sears VCS, which is it's an Atari system, but Sears licensed it and put their name on it. It didn't say Atari anywhere on it, but it was an Atari.
The Sears Telegames.
Yeah, Sears Telegames. That's what it was.
Then
And
there's the Atari Junior, which was toned down.
I mean, it was like a mini. You know, you've got Slims now. It was the same thing. They made the Atari Junior, and there was Sears Telegames 2, which was pretty much Sears' version of the Atari Junior. So there's a lot of history, and I mean, it stretched out for like 15 years. It was in production.
Wow.
So that's a pretty impressive run, considering we get maybe like 5 years out of a system now, maybe 8 if you really want to stretch it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the 15 years is just. I mean, that's like, I don't know, maybe Sega Master System in Brazil time. It was a big stretch.
And there's still people doing homebrew games for it to this day.
There's a Halo 2600
program for it. You know, basic program, you can make an Atari 2600 game.
Can you really? Huh.
Yeah.
See, this is a system I don't know jack crap about. So.
You know.
Neither do I. That's why I've been pretty quiet.
It's relatively cheap to get into. You know, if you want to start collecting, you get games for $1.50 sometimes.
Yeah. We have one. I just never hooked it up, so got a few games for it. But
there's a handful of games that are really, really fun for it. Gameplay really takes over against graphics and sound.
Mm-hmm.
Pitfall. That's a really fun game.
I heard it's really difficult though.
It is pretty difficult.
Yeah. Pitfall 2 is even more difficult.
Yeah, I've never played Pitfall 2.
This really pushed the Atari because this is one of the few games that has background music while you're playing. So,
wait, there's no music in Atari games?
They didn't have enough memory.
Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah.
There's
some pretty crude sound effects. You might get like 4 colors, maybe 8 colors if you're on something really advanced.
Yeah.
So,
ooh la la.
Yeah.
8.
It's there's a lot of games that people like really want to talk down about, that are real duds. But like E.T., everybody wants to say E.T. is the worst game ever. It's not. It's not bad.
You know how to play it.
If you can,
pretty good.
For an Atari game, and a Atari game that was programmed in 6 weeks, isn't that what it was programmed in? It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's a decent game. It's just difficult.
You have to have the manual to learn how to play it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, you probably can't find those anymore.
Basically, it's just pretty much the game that broke the camel's back.
I don't even know that it was the game that broke the camel's back. I think there was plenty of bad games, and it was just.
Yeah, I mean,
were fed up. I think it just catches a bad rap. I don't think there was many it undersold as bad as even like Pac-Man. The Pac-Man on 2600 is balls.
It was?
It's the worst game on the 2600, but it's the highest selling game for Atari 2600.
Well, Pac-Man.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say that there were all these bad games just coming out. Pretty much anybody could make a game for the system.
That's what killed the Atari.
Yeah,
where basically
and almost the video game industry.
Basically, when E.T. came out, that's when it started to go down. That's why I say it's kind of just what broke the camel's back.
I think a lot of people say that. I think it was just a coincidence, to be honest. There were way more bad games than Atari just happened to come out right about that time, or Atari E.T. happened to come out about that time. I don't think it was. There's a lot of people, like you said, that say that, and I may be completely wrong, but I just think that one game didn't make people lose interest in it or lose.
It gets a bad rap.
I think it really does. I think it.
But is it fun once you learn how to play it, though? Like, that's my question.
No.
Like, is there actually some fun in it?
E.T.'s not bad. The worst part about it is there's a lot of random stuff about it. Like you have to find the parts to the phone to call home, and they're not in the same place.
Oh, why not just use his iPhone or something? I mean,
why don't you just?
There were no iPhones in 1984.
Oh, email?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
But,
nothing. Go on.
The Pac-Man on the Atari is probably. I like it because it was one of the first games I ever played. My parents had it for the Atari 2600. I honestly, like, I remember getting my NES, I remember getting my Super Nintendo and everything, my Game Boy and everything down the line. I don't remember getting the Atari. It was just there.
It was there.
Yeah, I don't remember. It may have spawned from some wood grain off the paneling in the house. I don't know, but
Ritual.
it was the 80s. It was weird. I think maybe they fed the VCR after midnight and Atari came out. I'm not sure, but we had Pac-Man, we had baseball, which the baseball is it's not real good.
No.
I had football. Football is one of them that it was like the first cheat I ever found in a video game, and I found it by myself. If you're on defense, you're on the right-hand side of the screen, and you can run backwards off the right-hand side of the screen and come up behind the quarterback. Because the memory of the Atari 2600, so you could get back and sack the quarterback every time. That was the first cheat that Turf ever found in a video game.
And then you would score a home run. Is that right?
Yes. You would take the donkey to the other end and score a home run in the sports ball game.
See, I know about sports, guys.
I know. I can tell. You're a savant, sir. You are.
Yes.
You are a sports genius, and I bow to you.
Well, there was one. Well, maybe no. There were 3 Atari games. Like I think the first one was called Fire World, and then there was supposed to be 2 more. I heard
Sword Quest, Fire World, Sword Quest,
maybe
Water World, Surf World, and there's supposed to be Sky
were the
World.
ones.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a part of like
Water
this
World.
huge contest, right?
Yeah, and the prizes were like a huge crown and a sword and a scepter.
Yeah.
Is this what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Sword Quest.
Yeah.
You really actually won them.
That's badass. That
Apparently.
makes an Atari worth owning. Of course, I'm sure the swords. I'm sure that they never. There's no more swords or anything.
No,
But
there's
then
only
that
one.
sort of thing.
There's only one.
There is one.
This is just me talking out of
one
ignorance.
sword, one crown, and
Did
they're
they
like
ever give it
real
away?
cool.
They didn't ever give it away, did they?
I
Because
think they did. Someone did win them.
I thought
Really?
I knew.
No, I thought that they didn't release the last game.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
only
Sky World was the
there was
last
supposed
one.
to be 3 and they never or 4 and they never did release the 4th
Oh,
one.
there's supposed to be 4. Okay.
Because there's 3 of them out there.
Fire,
The-
water, and earth.
Earth. They were made. The Earth is Earth one the one that's really hard to find.
I believe that's
Yeah,
the rare one. That's the one that's the one that more price your Atari 2600.
Okay. The Fire and Water World I've had, so they're not hard to find. I've never paid much for them.
You play them though? That's what I'm wondering.
No,
are they
I
fun?
didn't play.
Oh, okay. Well, fun for an Atari game, I should say.
I tell you what, I had Smurfs on the Atari at one point. That's actually pretty fun.
Smurfy, that is.
Yeah, it was a Smurfing blast. You could,
Oh God.
you could Smurf over the Smurfing water, and then Smurf on down the road, then Smurf over the fence, and then it was fun. I had a good
That's
time.
Fan Smurfintastic. I love hearing that. Na, 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 na,
And another thing about fun for collecting Atari, there's so many different cartridge designs out there. You have your, your standard, boxy Atari one, very smooth.
Oh, don't stop. Let me see it. I want to see.
Sorry. For Warlords.
Okay.
I don't have the paddle controllers. Of course, you have your Activision ones. Which Activision ones are nice because they got these little slots on there, these little gray things. You can stack them together,
Oh, that's pretty
and
nice.
they're not going to fall over.
That's pretty cool.
You have your Magic cartridges.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, they got
Magic.
You've really got to hold still, Charles.
your your Parker Brothers cartridges.
From Parker Brothers.
Yeah, there was the Star Wars games look like that, and
Yeah.
Frogger, and I don't know any others that look like that. but
Spider-Man.
maybe.
Yeah, I think so. This is
Well, it'd have to be
Journey
done by
Escape.
Parker Brothers since he's Peter Parker. He wouldn't
On,
outsource that.
Oh, wait. I think I have that one,
Maybe.
Mr. Nikon.
the Journey game.
No, I don't have that one. I saw the cover. It looked like a jellyfish. I think I have something with a jellyfish on it.
And you have your Mattel games, which are pretty. They pretty much just use the same things they use for their television. The
They put it
same
in
like
Africa.
cartridge design. Yeah.
Isn't there one that's like double-sided? Or am I thinking of a different system?
Yes.
You're thinking of
Those are
pornography.
the adult games are double-sided.
Wait,
You got two games in there.
No, there were some that had it had like 2 games in it, and you flip the cartridge over. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Zach. I don't remember which ones it was, but.
Well, let me ask this question then. This modern age of shiny graphics and fancy schmancy stuff, is the Atari still worth getting into as far as collecting?
If you have the space.
If you have the space for it, yeah. So, some of the games are fun to play.
Okay.
Yard's Revenge is still fun.
Yard's Revenge?
I stand by that. That's a good game.
What's the premise of it? Because I have that.
It's like a space game, and you have to you destroy the fortress at the end of each level, and it just kind of it's just one.
You're a space fly, and you gotta shoot the other space bug or something like that.
And the Journey game, Journey Escape, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Journey Escape.
Yeah. There are some pretty fun games on it.
Apparently they're cheap.
I like Stampede. If you've ever played Stampede, it's pretty fun. You're on a horse and you're trying to rustle up them dogies and chasing cattle down and roping them. It's pretty fun.
Dodger is pretty fun. It's kind of like Pac-Man, but you're in one car collecting little things. You got another car that's chasing you.
What's it called?
Dodge 'em.
Dodge 'em. Okay, cool.
Let's see. There's like I said, several fun games. I'm trying to think of the other one. Is it Skydiver? That was one of them that you jumped out of a plane. You had to make your little guy land on a pad, and that was pretty fun. There's Land, Air, and Sea Battles fun. You're trying to shoot down planes from submarines. That's some multiplayer fun right there. You get 2 people that get competitive and a few beers. Land, Air, and Sea Battle is a good time.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. So there's some stuff to look for. I mean, and they're $1 a piece, it sounds like, most of the time. So there's also that.
Yeah, it was Air and Sea Battle. Excuse me. There's no land. There's no tanks involved. It's just submarines and.
It's not the Centurions.
Yeah. Yeah. Centurions. Good call. That was a deep cut from the '80s toys.
Centurions. What else?
So I mean, there was
some of the cover art for these games is so awesome. The cover art is sometimes cooler than the game.
Wasn't it always?
Yeah, it's like Defender's cover art, which I left in the other room.
Or the is that the one with like the '80s girl on it?
Yeah. She's like.
Yeah.
And Human Cannonball is another fun one. It's got the guy with the big old '70s stash. He's got a big goofy style on there, and a cannon. The guy being shot out of a cannon. So, another thing, if you could get the manuals have such in-depth stories about the whole backstory of the game.
Really?
Every game,
awesome.
These games told no story at all. They're just, think of Donkey Kong in the arcades. It was just a donk or a gorilla throwing barrels down. There was no story. So they made that up in the manuals. They put in these elaborate stories and told what was going on, or this cover art that was extremely detailed. I'd love to have some the Missile Command art on not a poster, but a print or something put on the wall. Because it was really, really cool and then really well done. I mean, they're fancy. It's a lost art, man. Because the label on the game gave you an idea of what they were trying to convey, and then you used your imagination to kind of fill in the blanks. Yeah. So they were tasked with one, told the artist, you've got one picture to tell this story. And that's pretty much what they did, and in many, many, many cases, they did a fantastic job. You looked at that one thing, and you knew, from Missile Command, you were looking at the guys at the computer, and they're all serious. We're going to stop the Russians, and then there's a silly game of missiles coming in or dots coming in, and you shooting your dots at them and trying to blow them up. But you knew what you were trying to do. You were trying to defend.
Because the cover art.
Because of the cover art, it told a story, and it's like I said, it was a lost art.
That's why I was confused about Yar's Revenge, because the cover confused me, but you actually are a giant fly? Is that for real?
Yeah. It had a whole comic book that came with it when you bought the game that explained the whole story in the comic book.
There's a comic too. Oh my god, this gets better and better. This is awesome. All right.
If you want to dive into some Atari stuff, get on the internet and start Googling this stuff. It's all out there, man. And they had like these real elaborate stories to go along with these really simple games. So they were telling a story in their own right with limited technology.
So cool.
Yeah, and now they tell the story for you in the game. Now like The Last of Us. It's such that one has a deep story in it, but back in the days you had to read the manual and know what your thing was, what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Even though yeah, when you only had for sake, too much stuff on this table.
Don't hit yourself now.
You only had the one button.
And that's all we need back in my day.
You'd be sitting there in your lap with your hand like this, and someone comes behind you. This was completely normal.
Well, I'm just playing my game.
It doesn't look that good in front of the camera.
So, but yeah, and this is these are pretty sturdy systems.
Those look sturdy as hell. Like you can run over them with a truck and they'll still be okay.
Yeah. This is, at least 30 years old, and it still has no issues.
Wow.
So.
Now, if somebody wanted to get into collecting Atari games, I think it would be fun if that's what that's what you wanted to concentrate on. If you enjoyed those games, it would be fun to go out and search for these little. They're cheap, so there's that. Yeah. You could build a solid collection for a pretty simple price. So I think it would be fun if that's what you want to do, man. I mean, if you could tolerate the games, because let's be honest. I mean, there's a handful of fun ones, but there's 1,000 that are just
a lot more that are not so fun. Yeah, I kind of figured.
I mean,
for every system is that way.
Well, that's true, but Atari ones, man, they're bad. There are a lot of single screen arcade games. You're just going for points, and there was no memory to keep your high score. It was bad.
Yeah.
And you had to use your imagination on a lot of it. So
who wants to do that?
Asteroids is fun. Even though that's a single screen, Asteroids, that's a fun game. I like it. But yeah, when you're that little pixel shooting other pixels.
I just think that younger generations would have such a hard time getting into it and appreciating it. I mean,
yeah.
So
yeah, I really think when you ask somebody, you say, what was the first video game system? If they're not in our community, if they're not in the know, not many people are gonna say Coleco or Intellivision. People are gonna that's the old Atari. I remember that. And when they think, that was the one before the Nintendo. That had to be the first one. So Atari has its place in history. It has its place in collecting. So there is that.
Well, when you say that, are you talking cartridge-based or built-in game?
Hold on. No, nobody knows about Pong clones. Nobody knows about brown boxes. I'm just talking about if you ask the average Joe what the first video game system they remember was, they're going to say the Atari. I mean, 9 times out of 10.
All right, so they're not going to say something like Fairchild F.
Dude, if you weren't into video games, into VGCollect.com,
ding.
If you weren't in this community, would you have any idea what a Fairchannel F was? I'm going to say hell no.
I never even heard of it until just now.
Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, you might stumble across an Odyssey or something, but there's chances are you're not. No, an Odyssey would have been a generic Atari to somebody that doesn't know.
And back then there were what? You had a ColecoVision, you had the Atari, you had the Intellivision, you had the Magnavox Odyssey, you had the Fairchild F. You had at least five systems out there competing with one another. Now there's what, 3
I had that
nowadays.
Conversation with Edwina.
So
what would you call it? Fahrenheit F? What, the who?
Fairchild Channel F.
I'd never heard of that until now.
It was the first cartridge-based system.
Oh, and Valley Bally had their own home console too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Bally Professional Arcade.
Yeah.
Leader. She said it was a Texas.
This is all over my head. This is so. Wow.
Oh, this is deep cuts, man. I'm
Oh
just,
yeah.
like, for the most part, if you ask just a random Joe, you said, what's the first video game system? They would say Atari. They wouldn't say a 2600. They wouldn't say, they would say just Atari, and that's what they meant. They meant the wood grain Atari.
One button Atari.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
And we won't get into the disaster that the 5200 was.
That's
Also,
a
yeah,
story
for another time.
time.
Another place. Well, speaking of which, it is almost time for us to say our fond farewells. This was really interesting. Censorship and the Atari 2600. Two really cool topics. I enjoyed myself immensely. But that being said, all good things must come to an end. But there will be people who want to listen and re-listen and rewatch this show over and over again. So, Turf, where can they do that?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to watch this show again and see the other 16 episodes that we've done, you can check them all out on our website, ourparentsbasement.com. You can go to YouTube and just type in OPB Podcast or Our Parents Basement, and you'll be able to find us. It's this little logo. If you were looking at it, you can see my little logo right here. That's on our YouTube channel. If you just want the audio version, if you don't want to look at us, which I know we're some fine-looking gentlemen, but if you just want the audio, if you want to listen to us going down the road, you can check us out on Twitter. Oh wait, no, not on Twitter. You can check us out on Stitcher. You can check us out on iTunes. You can check us out on Google Play. We're all there for the taking. Just download us and take them with you. All the episodes are there. They usually come around the next Monday or Tuesday after the show. So sign up, subscribe, and they'll just come straight to your phone. And you won't even have to worry about it. And if you want to get a hold of us, check us out on Twitter at OPB Podcast. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/OPB Podcast. Like I said before, go to ourparentsbasement.com. You can find all this information there. Or send me an email at opbpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to point you in the right direction, and I'll even send you an autographed picture of me.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Jenny is so excited about getting that autographed picture of you.
She can have the real live thing. Just bring her to me in October.
Okay.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Oh, man. Anyways, everyone, this was lots of fun. We will see you all next week, same time, same place, with new stuff to talk about, and it will be awesome. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other.
Peace.
Peace.
Good night.